good.
Seconds. Yeah, I thank you for coming on there today. It's a pleasure. It's been years and years. So today we'll be looking at what hiring managers is looking for in job seekers. And you started an initiative to help job seekers, around 30 job seekers, in partnership with Accurate Tech Hub, even as you can see up there, and then Emerging Communities Africa, to help 30 job seekers get started in tech and get their footprint out there. And today we have someone awesome, a friend, John. John is currently a product owner, a digital product owner with Toyota North America. He's an hiring manager, and today he will be giving us tips about what hiring managers are actually looking for in job seekers, and then what job seekers can benefit from it overall. Hi, John. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Emmanuel. Glad to be
Oh,
here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying the weekend. Glad to
Wow,
be here with
amazing.
y'all.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so my first question would be overall, what will you say about the job market currently, and then how can job seekers better position themselves for what is to come? Thank
That's a good question. That's a big question, actually. So I guess, talking about the current market, right? It's getting tougher because of the current headwinds that are coming our way. Um, I'm sure you've seen some of the news. A lot of CEOs are talking about it. You know, even Elon's talking about it, how there's a big recession on the way that's going to be impacting a lot of uh, basically every industry is probably going to get impacted. Now, with that being said, all economic conditions are temporary. There are highs, there are lows, and so I always try to think of like using the best time, right, depending on what the environment is like, and making the right move at the right time. So heading into like a big recession like this, I would be looking to, if I was a job seeker at the moment, I would probably be looking to get in with a company that is really solid, right? Someone who's probably not like trying to go for some like rocket level growth or some unicorn status. During a recession, I would be either looking for someone who's really stable, right? Someone who's been in the environment for a long time. They've got sustained customers, they have a sustained industry, regulations, and whatnot. Or I would look to build inside of a a startup. This is actually a really good time for startups because while like a lot of VC money has kind of dried up, this is frankly whenever, in my opinion, companies get scrappy and they actually build really good engineering cultures and really good technologies because they have to. The constraints of the environment require that. So when it comes to the current environment for job seekers, we're heading into what I would call a harder than normal time. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. There's definitely going to be lots of hiring. Like some of the numbers I've seen in America are hundreds of thousands of jobs that are coming up. Now that the reason those happen is because multiple reasons. There's layoffs, but there's also just people leaving. So that's a little bit about the current environment. As far as like how a job seeker can best position themselves, that is, I think we'd have to break that down quite a bit. Um, First, let's talk a little bit about, at a 10,000-foot view, what is a hiring manager looking for? Whenever I'm looking at a candidate, there's a couple things I'm looking at. Three distinct categories, in fact. One is going to be aptitude. Can you do the job, right? Like, do you have the skill sets? If I need someone who's going to be good at Microsoft Excel, do you know Microsoft Excel, right? There's going to be just having those raw skill sets for the role. Um, then there's going to be attitude. So we've got aptitude as far as skills, but then there's that attitude, right? Are you honest? Are you open-minded? Do you seem to be like a self-motivated person? Are you a team player? How do you recover from a mistake? Those are going to be really important. And then the third category is fit and future. So how well do you fit into the culture of the team? And I think historically that was used as like a negative connotation, like basically, do you walk, talk, and act like me? Do you go to the same church as me? And uh, that was an old way. It's still prevalent in some places, but what I'm excited about is how that's really changing into fit being more like, how well do you fit onto the team, right? Or do you collaborate well with the other types of personalities that we have? What kind of experiences do you bring to the team? Do you bring experiences that the team is currently missing? Like, so for example, my team um, currently needs a little bit more what I would call Toyota experience. We don't need someone who's really good at math or really good at writing code. Right now, my team, we have a gap in someone who knows Toyota. So I'm actually looking to like bring someone onto my team who knows Toyota type things. A little while ago, we had a gap where we needed someone who knew Python. And so like the big thing I was looking for was someone who had a deep background and a deep experience in software engineering. And then the other thing as far as like fit in future is, what do you want, right? I'm I'm I need to kind of understand when I'm building a team, right? What are your goals? And how do your goals fit into the team's goals? And do they fit in well? So, two of those you can control. One of them you can't, right? Of those three categories, we got fit and future, aptitude, and attitude. The aptitude and attitude, those are fully in your control, right? The skill sets that you go work on, the classes you take online, your personality, while, we're probably born with some innate personality traits, you can control like how fast you get mad at someone, right? Like that's very much within your ability to train and condition yourself. I've had to do that myself. Frankly, I was kind of an angry teenager. And I've had to kind of teach myself to be a little bit more open-minded and a little more, um, you know, willing to kind of see my own mistakes, right? So those are things that are fully in your control. Now, the fit and culture, that's, in my opinion, kind of a roll in the dice thing. You don't really know what you're going to get as far as a culture because it kind of depends on what the team needs at that time. You may be perfect for the team, but the current gap on the team isn't the skill set that you would come fill. So I just want to kind of make clear that, there's a lot of things in play when it comes to hiring someone. But a good portion of those, 60% of that is up to, is within your control. So Manuel, I'm curious, how do you think that helps some of our folks? Do you got another question for me?
Wow, thank you so much for that. Like, that's something really like tangible and wonderful. Yeah, you mentioned, I think I pick up 3 to 5 things. The first is attitude. Okay. What is your attitude like? What's your ability to learn, ability to go extra? And how do you solve problems basically? And then how are you a cultural fit to the team? And then you give an instance to recently where you're hiring. I know currently you're hiring for a data scientist at Toyota. And then you give an instance for the current person which you're looking for should have a knowledge to fill the knowledge gap about Toyota and then their processes.
Yep.
Now, all this information, I'm very curious in one thing. How do job seekers like identify all this information? For example, how if I'm a job seeker, how do I know the skill gap within a company? Let's say I'm looking for the position of a data scientist role within
Hmm.
Toyota. So from the job application, how do I get to identify, okay, this is the skill gap in order to pitch myself to you during the interviews? Yeah.
That's a good question. So I would probably start with the job description, which I know is kind of really generic and kind of like, oh my gosh, like someone's just pointing me to another job description. But frankly, that job description was written by the hiring manager. So for example, you on LinkedIn, I recently shared a post to a data scientist role that you just mentioned. That's on Way's team. He's a lead data scientist on the IT team, and he wrote that description. So he's literally he's sitting at his desk looking at his work for the week, right? And he's thinking, all right, what are the gaps on my team? What do we need? And he said, we need someone who knows Python. We need someone who knows Jenkins. We need someone who knows those technical skill sets. And so he's going to very like plainly list out the hard skill sets in that job description. If you want to look a little more broadly, though, I, I wonder. Yeah, I don't know if that would work very well. One thing you could do, frankly, and this would take some time, admittedly, but if there's a company you're really interested in, it's probably going to take some time. But if there's a company you're really interested in, like let's say Toyota, for example, if you were to click on a couple, we have it like categorized, like here, there's business, there's sales, there's marketing. And if you're interested in marketing roles, go click on the marketing roles and open up a lot of them. I would use a tool, possibly like JobBot, I think is what it's called. I'll have to share. Actually, let me grab the link. There's a tool called JobBot that you can take, or no, JobScan. Yeah, JobScan.co. It's an application that you can take a job description and post it in, and it will provide you back the skill sets that that job post, marked as critical. And they do that in kind of a basic way. How often did the word come up? That's probably how much it was on the hiring manager's mind. So that's a tool that I really like. You can take a lot of descriptions and just keep posting them in there, and then you're going to get a list of the skill sets that they're concerned about for the company. Um, and you're going to get that perspective from several different hiring managers. So that's one way I would find that, the aptitude side as far as what skill sets are missing. That's how I would go identify inside a certain role, what I wanted to get, or what you know that company or that organization feels is a current gap for them.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Using JobScan is really like a wonderful tool, and
Hmm.
that is really amazing. Now, okay, my other question would be, for the hiring managers, like for the job seekers, where can they find jobs? Because we are aware that okay, lots of jobs are posted first within communities before they are taken to job board. So how can job seekers leverage network? What network communities should job seekers join? And you spoke something about okay, for job seekers looking at getting either their first or their next job in this recession, now they should be looking at startup, either a high growth startup or startup with a good customer base, or a company that is well grounded, let's say one which is eating towards profitability, as a good customer base, and not just the big name or the early stage company. Why? Because they'll be affected by let's say firing due to VC round being like on freeze. Now, my question is, what can job seekers do to be among like the top, to be the first people to like get a job, and how can they position themselves right?
So your question on like job communities, right? Um, that's actually now I'm speaking from my experience, right? I don't know everybody's experiences, but my experiences are that these like niche communities. So for example, I'm in a fraternity. I'm a Sigma Pi who's actually gone to two different universities, and so I have like supposedly I have this like secret network of jobs that my fraternity brothers will tell me about. And there's over 100,000 brothers in this fraternity. I've never been offered a job by any of them. So I think that's actually a massive myth out there that you need to be a part of some, special club to get some good job or something like that. That's in my experience and in the experience that I've asked a lot of my friends and colleagues. I don't think any of us have ever gotten a job because of some secret society or fraternity we're a part of. The fraternities we're a part of are because, we want friends and colleagues that are like-minded that we can go hang out with, frankly. And so as far as like special communities, there's probably a lot of tips and tricks you can learn from those communities. There's, because you're going to find like-minded folks that are also looking for jobs. They're trying to find the best mechanisms, the right way to word your resume, the best way to reach out to a hiring manager. They're going to be communicating in those kinds of things. So you're going to learn good things. So I'm not saying they're not valuable. They're probably actually really valuable. I know my fraternities taught me a lot of things that have helped me, but they didn't bring a job. There wasn't a job posting in my fraternity organization before it was posted out live. In fact, in my experience, it's been the opposite. There's been a posting out on Indeed.com or Monster.com or LinkedIn, and then it kind of goes unposted for like a couple weeks. They're not finding the right quite person for the role yet, and then they'll post it over in the fraternity group and say, hey, we're still really looking for a data scientist, or we're still looking for a marketing manager. Anybody looking for a job right now? So I've actually found it's been the opposite, that the job is posted to the public first, and then it comes around to like the inner circles. Now, there's a massive exception to this. The big exception to this is you. And so now this is where, we're going to get real for a second. Your network has nothing to do with the organizations you join. Don't think it does. That's not it. What you do and what people know you for is your network. That's your brand, right? You build this brand by doing things for people, either for money or for free. People are going to get to know you as having a certain kind of skill set. Emmanuel's reached out to me for having a certain skill set of talking to job seekers. And so this is something I like to do. And frankly, to be very candid here, it builds my brand. More people are aware of who I am because I come and speak on things like these. This is how, if you want someone to reach out to you with a job, you will need to build a brand online or locally with people that you want to work with that actually could provide you with employment, and make it aware that you have the skill set and can bring value to them more so than they would pay you, right? The only reason employment works is because the companies get more value out of their employees than the employees cost to pay. And so you need to think about, how can I not just provide value to someone, but how can I be known as someone who provides value to people? That changes everything. Literally, the job I have right now, I got the job before it was ever posted. Someone reached out to me from Toyota and said, hey, I've seen, mind you, and this is someone I had talked to before. So I had talked to this person about a year and a half prior. We got to know each other. They got to know my skill set. They've seen how I communicate online. We've talked about leadership and how, I like to think about technology and driving change within an organization. And so I built a reputation with this person over literally a year and a half. And so 18 months later, they get a new job. This person gets a new job. And they're like, and this new job is building a team. They're building a 12-man team. And so whenever they have to think in their head, what 12 people could help me do this job? I was one of those people. And so you have to think of, how can you get into people's brain that way, that whenever they have a problem, that they think that you can solve it. That is networking. If you want to get above, if you want to get ahead of other people, there's a little phrase I like to say, um, and because it kind of beats up on an old phrase. There's an old phrase that used to be, and some people still say it. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Okay. And that's probably the mindset that I think a lot of people have, is that like, oh, I'm in a fraternity, or you're in some community, some job community, and so people know you and they give you a job. That doesn't work that way. It's not what you know, and it's not who you know. It's who knows what you know. So think about that for a second. It's what person is aware of the skill sets that you have. And so if the right person, aka hiring managers, are aware of the skill set that you could bring to the team, then you're going to pop up in their mind when they think of filling that gap on their team. So I hope that did a good job of explaining kind of the myth of these communities, and how, if you want to get into someone's head, you need to you need to be in my head as providing value, and not just being in my head, right? There's a lot of people who are really good at getting hype and just getting attention. That's not that's a good way to get attention, right? And if you want to be an internet personality and whatnot, sure, that'll probably work, but that's not going to work for jobs. I need to know you as you know Frank the carpenter, Susan the pediatrician. I need to have like not just John, right, the person, but John, the product owner, right? People know me as someone who can connect dots and has a technical mindset because I make them know that. I put effort into making sure that people know that I like to work with people and I like technology. I also happen to like cars, so Toyota's kind of perfect for me. I hope that helps, Emmanuel.
That helps, Emmanuel.
Wow. I think it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it is simply who know what you know. And I think that's very, very special. And then I can say, for example, we have Jeremiah here is into SEO copywriting. So we can say Jeremiah, the SEO copywriter. So how he
Yes.
positioned himself online. So it's basically about like brand positioning.
Yes.
Yes.
So can you talk
That's
about like that in a bit? Let's say for job seekers looking at starting, how do they start on positioning themselves online? Like creating like a brand in that particular career track, because as they build their connection, let's say online on LinkedIn for example, they need to get into the right people, let's say hiring managers, founders, CEOs and other C executive. But then how do they position themselves from the start to a thought leader in their career, even at this stage which they are?
that's a good question.
That's
And
a
I
good
would say
question.
that
And I would
early on, it's and I wouldn't even say it's early on. I would say this is kind of in general, frankly. Have something as tangible as possible. And so, early in your career, that can look like a lot of different things. Um, if you can get like a development job, an apprenticeship, an internship, do not waste it. I've seen so many interns waste their internship because they did what they were told. If you get an internship or you get an apprenticeship, do what you're told. Absolutely. If within reason, right? If they ask you to do things that match what the job is, but do more. Find more. I've seen a lot of interns that literally take their they get their task for the day. Because mind you, when we have interns, we don't just being honest, right? I'm working on $100 million project. I don't let the interns do a whole lot with the $100 million project, right? I mean, just the stakes are very high, but interns could show a lot of value to me. So I'm going to give interns, frankly, low value tasks, right? Things that if they went wrong, my project will still likely succeed. Okay. So do those tasks, right? Because they're still going to help me. They're still going to help the team. They're still going to help the customers. So do the tasks. I don't give you totally meaningless things, but they're low impact. They're not likely going to have, a big detriment to the project if it doesn't get done. But go find more. Find something you can improve. Find something you can, test and learn from and share those learnings with the team. Find something that you can automate. Find something that you can whatever, right? Just I cannot stress this enough. I've seen way too many interns and apprentices just do what they're told, and then whenever they graduate or they're done with the program or whatever, they're like, "Wow, yeah, I made a lot of PowerPoints and I got a lot of people coffee." I didn't that's a problem. First off, you didn't learn anything. Second off, no one knows you as anything other than the person who made the PowerPoints and got some coffee. And unless your PowerPoints are like really good, you're probably not going to make a real lasting impression. Now, if you're the intern who made the PowerPoints, got the coffee, but they also improved our training system, like they redid the whole training system, I, I'm gonna make them an offer probably when they so that they come back because I know that they're someone who finds problems. So that's one way, right? And that if you're fortunate enough to have an internship or an apprenticeship, use it. Let's talk about an environment where you're still trying to get that apprenticeship or that internship, or you're trying to get your first entry level job, and all you've really got is the kind of the tools at your fingertip. You probably have maybe a laptop, an internet connection, and you need to get known. Build something. Build anything. Have fun with it. I would encourage you to really pick a thing that would really excite you to have done, something that you think the world would be better if it had this thing that's in your head, and go build it or get as close as you can to building it. You are going to learn an incredible amount about building a tool, whether that's building a marketing website, building a game, building an app. I mean, it could be building a data science project, running a marketing campaign. You can run a marketing campaign. I think Bing will give you like $100 of free advertising credits. You could test out your marketing principles with A/B tests for free. Bing is giving you $100 to try it out. Um, I'll give you a really good example. If you're on LinkedIn and you're in the data world at all, you probably are aware of a gentleman named Zach Wilson. He is. I have not talked to him in live, but he seems like an incredible person. Um, he does very well as a staff engineer at Airbnb, I believe. You want to know how he got his first job, his first like big tech job? He made an app that he wanted. He wanted an app that would help him manage his Magic the Gathering cards. And so Magic the Gathering is a card game that frankly nerds and geeks play. And you battle each other with your card sets. He wanted to be able to keep track of it and optimize his decks. So he built an Android app that would do that. Well, the app worked pretty well, and he ended up getting like 100,000 users on the Android App Store. You now have a lot of people's attention. If you can build an app that has like 100,000 people's attention, you're gonna get it. You'll get a job. I'm very confident of that. But let's say you just make an app that is a little more basic, right? You made an app that helps you keep track of your helps you compare Pokemon. I mean, it can be fun and goofy. That's okay. Don't think you have to be serious all the time. All you need to be able to show is that you can build things, you can measure stuff and improve. That is going to show a hiring manager that you kind of essentially have what it takes to actually build something. It is hard to build. Anybody who's ever tried to build, Emmanuel, I know can probably speak for this. It is terribly difficult to build something and actually get it out in the wild and let the world play with it and touch it and interact with whatever you've made. And so if you can get to that point, that's another way to really rise above the rest and kind of be on top with the shining few who have built something. So yeah, if you want to shine, show me something you've made. That'll go in an incredibly far way. It can even be let's make it even simpler. A Tableau dashboard or the Elon Musk jet tracker, right? He's getting a lot of notary right now because he recently got kicked off of Twitter. I bet you that gentleman that I think he's a 20-year-old college student in Florida. I I bet you money he's getting very lucrative job offers every week because of that tracker, that notoriety that he's gotten from building something it's just fun. He just wanted to keep track of Elon's plane. That's all he was doing. But I'll bet you money that young man is getting quite a few very favorable job offers at the moment.
Wow, I think like this is amazing. So my takeaway from there is if you're looking like standing above the crowd, especially the 1%, build something. Basically, do fun projects, engage in portfolios, um, utilize your skill, either real life projects, it might be petty, it might be something massive. And then one other thing is you spoke about collaboration. If you can work together with one, two people, ship something out, and then I think that would really like good be a very good one. And let me give an instance. I think this is the last. Um, a friend was looking for job, and then I think he has been in the job market for a year, and then the advice was just go out there, develop. He's a coder, so his strength is with React. So just go out there, develop petty project, fun project, post it on LinkedIn, post it on Twitter, and he did that for 1 2 months. And then I think the second month he got a private message from a founder looking at building a company, and then he's a student. He's a 300 level. He's still 2 years ahead of him. So he got that offer, and then he was given a brand new MacBook 2021, and then a job offer of 500K with full allowances, feeding, data cover. And then he was very excited. I was like, wow, it's actually because you built something. And then I think like that's really amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. And so, what will be like your last word for us and everyone here?
Some final
Some
thoughts.
final thoughts.
I guess would be, you really kind of nailed it. If you're looking for a job, right? If the objective is to get gainful employment, build something and be known for it. Like it kind of sounds, it sounds so simple and it sounds almost kind of like silly, um, but it works. I mean, Emmanuel, you just had that fantastic example. Zach Wilson is one of my favorite examples. Um, there's a lot of folks out there that will tell you that building something has changed their life. One of the other benefits I would even add on to building something is you may not need a job when you're done building. Imagine that. Imagine being able to build something and it's profitable. It's actually valuable enough that you can charge customers for it and make money. Um, Frankly, I'll be honest, as someone who is gainfully employed, I would prefer to not be. I would prefer to have built something that pays me money. So, you've almost got like two paths that are opened up to you by building. Is that you'll have job opportunities that are going to come your way. You're also going to have your own opportunities that you can build yourself and control yourself. Um, so I really almost really just want to kind of like double down and stress building, because that's what we're doing. At the end of the day, what am I doing at work? I'm building. We're building a product. We're building something. I have customers. I have requirements. I have deadlines. I have messy data. We have tools that break every once in a while that we have to go fix. The work is messy and hard, and it's why I work 40 or 50 hours a week trying to solve these problems, is because there's a lot of them. And so showing hiring managers like myself that you have solved problems for real. You've gone and gotten your data. You've manipulated it. You've turned it into something valuable. And I'm giving examples around data because it's what I know, but I would say that this pertains to a lot of other fields as well. Like marketing is another one I would really use as a good example. Show me that your marketing works. Do some A/B test. You've got copy A, copy B. This one converted 500 customers. This one converted 1,500 customers. We use more of copy B. Show me how you did that. Show me how you put this into production. I'm gonna lean in as a hiring manager. I'm gonna be very interested. You're gonna be one of the few people who've built something. I can assure you. So yeah, I basically want to double down on build something, but have fun. If you're not having fun, take a step back and think about what you're getting ready to do then. Because think about it. I mean, like, I spend over 2,000 hours every year working. Well, I'm going to work for 80,000 hours in my lifetime. I like my work. I enjoy what I do. I'm also very fortunate to have good coworkers and fantastic leadership, but you don't always, right? You don't always get good projects. It's almost rare that you have an all-star team. So you need to like the work because you're going to do it a lot. And especially if you're an individual contributor, right? If you're a coder, a marketer, or, trying to think of another, it's just the world that I know is data. So it's what I think and talk about. But, if you're doing sales, you're going to be alone a lot doing your job. And so you had best like what you're doing. And if you're not liking the things that you're building, or if you're not liking, and not the things you're building, I want to take that back. The things you build hopefully are cool and fun and useful. But while you're building, think more about the process. Do you like what you're doing? Do you like, let's say, sticking with the coding example, do you like programming? Do you like pulling in this data, exploring the data and trying to understand it, straightening it out and making it clean? Do you like these steps? If you don't like them, then I would really encourage you to maybe take a step back and think, is this the world I really want to step into and get good at? Um, I'm not sure, right? That's going to be up for you to decide. But to a certain extent, while you're building, take stock in the process and check and make sure you like what you're doing. Not saying it's going to be easy, but because it's going to be hard, especially if it's something you've never done before. But definitely try to build something, try to have fun with it, and measure yourself. Check yourself. Are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying what's going on? Because this is essentially what you're signing up to do for 2,000 hours a year. So I hope you enjoy it.
Wow. Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Like, that is really powerful, and thank you for coming, and thanks for every nugget which you've. And if there's one thing, everyone, yeah, and everyone that will watch this later is going to like get from this, it's the first thing you need to build something. That's the first, and then even in the space of building, you need to continuously upskill, get new skill, learn to do things that are uncomfortable, strain that as, and then just provide value to employer. And then the last thing that was said during this call is personal branding is important. Ensure it's, and do not rely on who you know and then hoping that okay things are going to turn around. Ensure that okay, those who need you knows you can offer what they need. So it's not who you know, it is who knows what you know, and that is really very important. So thank you so much for this awesome section,
Thanks for
and
having
thanks
me.
again. For having me. Yeah, thank you, and do have a nice day.
Y'all have a great
Bye.
day.
Y'all have a great day.
Cheers.
Cheers.